Hello, you guys. Quick video this week because here's some great news. There's nothing big going on this week. I'd say the full moon this weekend was enough in Leo. I don't know if you experienced some big egos, some, need to be seen, or how you're not being seen, or these themes, maybe it was just a flutter in the wind and it breezed right by you. I had a lot of high highs and low lows this weekend. I think it was very Leo full moon. And so we're coming off of that energy, right? So the beginning of the week is going to feel a little unfocused. I don't know how you were feeling yesterday and Monday, but it was a little bit less focused, harder to grasp, harder to find answers. Because Neptune was in the bunch this week. So whenever Neptune's playing around in our astrology, it's harder to find the deeper points of concentration. Though I will say that we've had for the last day or so and today a moon in Virgo, which is earthy, which is nice. So the astrology this week is very mercurial, like it's Mercury kind of running the show this week. So this Earth moon is incredibly advantageous to use to our advantage, to get more organized, to get our hands in the dirt, to get more grounded, to really find comfort when we're feeling overstimulated or overwhelmed. To lean into practicality. Virgos love lists. Virgos love the safety of a plan. And now, coming off a full moon, we've learned that the best laid plans sometimes don't always work out our way. And that's true. But Virgo loves to delve into the dishes. Virgo loves to vacuum in splendor. Like, how can you take these small parts of your day and involve them in how you can be more joyful? Because Mercury is now direct. It was retrograde and it's been in Capricorn for a jaunt, so our minds have been hard at work, and in that retrograde more so. It was a long phase of Mercury feeling a little sloggy, feeling a little, maybe some resentments about how our workflow is, how our thought flow is. Capricorn is so hardworking. Our brains were so hardworking. And this week it's good news because not only are we out of Mercury retrograde's shadow, so we're fully in a mercurial directness, but it's making a really good, aspect to Pluto. Okay, so Mercury is going to be right next to Pluto on Friday. It doesn't necessarily mean that's huge astrology. Everybody hears Pluto and they're like, it's going to be big, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. What I really like about Mercury and Pluto being next to each other is it's being able to put words to our depths. It's being able to speak soulfully. It's being able to understand better in our minds how we're processing what's in our hearts in the depths of our soul. I love Anne of Green Gables when she'd always say, I'm in the depths of despair. I feel like that's such Mercury Pluto vibes. Cool. You can be in the depths of despair. I love that you can put a really cool word to that. What would you do if you could put words to your very deepest thoughts? That's the homework this week. What's coming up that's feeling deep? What's coming up that feels transformational? Because while Pluto is extremely deep, it's also transformational. So don't forget that with whatever heaviness comes into our minds this week, because maybe it'll feel heavy. Also what comes with heaviness is catharsis. I really think a lot about this victim versus power shift. It's like we always get to choose. Things aren't always going to go our way. I know this week things haven't felt like they've gone completely my way. And it's like I can either completely go into a state of victimhood and be like, this wasn't my fault, I didn't do this, that, or the other. Or I can reclaim my power and say, maybe this contract I made in this life, this isn't the direction I'm supposed to be going. And so you make shifts. And the cool thing about Mercury being next to Pluto is we can think through these more deeper call to action moments of our lives that sometimes, I don't know, I feel like Pluto energy stays in us a lot more often than when it comes out of us. And Pluto catharsis is the most beautiful because it's layered. There's so many layers of healing that comes when we interact with Pluto. It's scary when we have Pluto squares, like when Pluto squares our Pluto or squares our Saturn or whatever. It's like very deep, scary lessons. And Pluto just wants us to surrender to it. Pluto wants us to take our power back and say, I'm going to nail you, nail you, nail you. And then at the end of nailing you, what did you learn? And if your answer is, I don't know, Pluto's like, well, then we're just going to keep going. We're going to nail you, nail you, nail you until what did you learn? Surrender to the learning. And this is lighter astrology. There's nothing like huge necessarily that's going to happen to you. It's more like the ability to think about all of the huge things that have happened to you. And that's great catharsis. And what I love about Mercury being there is that there's such an opportunity to talk about it. Like, we don't often give ourselves the platform to talk about the bigger, deeper things. This weekend could be a great weekend to really challenge yourself to talk to a partner, a loved one, a friend, whoever you trust, and really kind of go as deep as you can possibly go with whatever thought track is coming up this week, because Mercury is really at the forefront. It wants us to ask and be curious about these questions, because then at the end of the week, Saturday, so Friday is when this conjunction happens, and then the next day, which I love, the next day, Mercury moves from Capricorn, this very hard-working place, to Aquarius, which is, world view, big scope. Aquarius rules astrology. It also rules technology and communities and how we're redoing the system. It's very non-traditional. So I love that all of these deep things might potentially come up for you. But then the next day, these deep solutions, like in Aquarius, this non-attachment. Aquarius is so great because high road Aquarius isn't attached to it being any certain way. Aquarius doesn't have the same kinds of opinions that other signs do. Aquarius is more like, that's cool. Okay. Make a big statement, tell me I'm wrong. Aquarius loves information and curiosity, and it's like a flurry, this quick-mindedness. And to me, when we can move quick, it's like when you're trying to decide what food you want and someone rapid fires things at you. Banana, cheese, this, that, and you have to say it really fast. That's like Aquarius energy. It's like, don't overthink, just think. Don't overthink it, gut check. It's like, to me, it's when a car runs really smoothly, right? The oil is in, the gas is in there, everything's clean, and you're able to just move, because while Pluto is very transformational, it can also feel quite sticky. So it's really lovely to have this conjunction, and then the solution-oriented Aquarian energy to flood in with solutions, outside of the box solutions. We've had some Uranus energy around us too, and it's last week, and it's like when big changes are happening, how do you shift with it? And instead of resisting, instead of victimizing, instead of this feeling that you're out of power, take back your power. Where are you powerful in this cycle of your life right now? Anything bad could be happening to you, literally anything. And you can find a power place to get into that can help change your state. And when you change your state, you change what you're doing. If you cannot do those things, then Mercury in Aquarius is at least going to come nudge you and say, hey, yo, just think about it. No pressure. Just think about it. That's what this week really is. It can feel overstimulating because when Mercury is in the highlight, it can feel like a lot. But I love the notion of let's just think about it. Okay, you look at this card. I love this card. This Eight of Pentacles is we're working, we're doing it. The forward motion is happening. So whatever setbacks, whatever things that have taken your power over the last few weeks, this Leo full moon, whatever made you feel in your power, lean into that. And whatever took away your power, think about that. Think about that and communicate that. We all have our own way in which we collect our resources. And I find that like control and resource are kind of the two things that we get the most flipped out about. Do we have enough resource? What's going to happen if it gets taken away from us? Pluto loves to like put its little thumb in that issue, as well as like, do we have control of our life situation? And this card is reminding us that we have built something in our lives. No matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, we are all building, manifesting, and creating the life that we're living. How are you polishing it? How are you communicating it? How are you processing it? You know, maybe your brain machine needs a little polish. Maybe it needs like a different perspective. Aren't you sick of thinking the same old things about yourself? Aquarius wants us to say, how have we grown based on what we've built? How have we grown and how can we shift in a way that brings more resource, that brings more success, that brings more catharsis? Well, the answer is very simple and it's very clear, though it's hard to activate because we have to engage Pluto. We have to say, well, here are my fears. Here are the things that hold me back. Here are the negative stories I tell about myself that keeps me from like really manifesting all of these pentacles that are here for you to manifest. Aquarius is a great state of mind to get into because Aquarius is like enough with the like victimhood. Let's find a solution. Aquarians are so innovative. I love them so much for that because they don't just act selfishly. They don't only think of what would be good for them. They think of like this, they have a worldview. And that's what I call perspective. And that's what I want you to gain this weekend is some really deep perspective. That is high road Mercury shit, man. When you can gain perspective. Okay, because we're all fighting our own battles. That full moon may have hit really hard. There may be some harsh truths you're having to come up against. I know there is for me. And it would be so easy to victimize myself or to feel like, well, I work so hard and for what? But, you know, just working hard doesn't finish your puzzle. You know, it takes this innovation. It takes this flexibility. It takes the ability to see yourself not only in the pretty ways, to see the darker sides of yourself, the patterns particularly that hold you back from encompassing what it is you could actually create if you got out of the victim state and moved into the power place. You know, when we are powerful, anything is possible. When we are in a power place, we create. And Aquarians love new creations, love something that takes our breath away, loves being able to see something they haven't seen before. So my question and my inquiry to you on this very mercurial week is how can you think about your story differently? How can you think about your thoughts differently? You know, I think with this like new TikTok, Instagram era, we forget that we have short attention spans. So I want you to try to sit with yourself, journal or meditate or whatever, listen to an audiobook. And when you find your mind starting to wander, pay attention. If you are not actively engaging in your present moment right now, then you're not going to be actively engaging or participating in what is happening to you right now. If you're too future-based, then you're not going to be taking the steps that it takes to get to that future. And if you're too past-based, then you're going to be wounded and victimizing yourself from the things that happened in the past, holding you from the things that could presently be being built. The only way to move forward is to stay present, is to be paying attention to how we're taking those steps foot by foot. Like, what is your foot pace? How are you holding your body? How are you holding your mind state in a very present day-to-day reality? Virgo moon is great to start the week off with this. And then we're going to move into a beautiful Libra energy that's going to be like, how do we balance? How do we balance our thoughts and our soul and our bodies? And how do we move enough, think enough, sleep enough? You know, what is balance to you? And how do we create harmony when our mind is all over the place? These are the inquiries I want you to think about, you know, because then, so we'll have a Libra moon for a few days and then we'll end with some Scorpio. So here we go, back into the depths. I love how the astrological wheel does that. It gives us a break and it plunges us back and it brings us up and it lifts us higher. It's ebbs and flows, and Mercury is our thoughts and our communications. So what we deeply have control over and what we need to really process this week is how we are thinking and how we are communicating. And that is good medicine. Like and subscribe to my page, you guys, and comment and let me know how the reading was. I would love to hear from you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.